address it. At the same time, we feel that the question which should be put before the people at the present stage should be only one that is related to an immediate practical proposition. And that, in our opinion, is union with the Gold Coast. If union with the Gold Coast is rejected by the people, a new situation will arise, which will have to be considered afresh, in our opinion. For the present, we think it is unnecessary to anticipate it or to provide for it. That would be tantamount to prejudging the results. We regard the independent and isolated existence of British Togoland as extremely precarious, both politically and economically. Indeed, the visiting mission itself seems to recognize the validity of this argument. As we've said earlier, continued trusteeship administration, either for the entire territory or for a part of it, seems unnecessary and undesirable. For one thing, it may not be practicable, as pointed out by the UK representative, and for another thing, as we've said previously, it is not clear why there should be continued tutelage for a part when it has been claimed that the objectives of the trusteeship system have been substantially attained and will be fully attained in the territory as a whole by association with the Gold Coast. No doubt, members of this council will appreciate the many difficulties in continuing the territory's present form of trusteeship administration as an integral part of the Gold Coast after the Gold Coast becomes independent. International supervision would then amount to limitation of the sovereignty of the Gold Coast and would therefore clearly not be acceptable. We do not therefore see any immediate practical advantage in posing the second question before the people, namely continued trusteeship pending some kind of future unification of the two Togolands. Whatever the past history of the two territories may be, they have each been for over 30 years under different trusteeship administrations. It is today as they were 2 years ago. One thing which clearly emerges from a study of this matter is that the unification move arose out of the desire of the Away people to be under one administration and later assumed a larger political aspect. However, basically the problem is still an Away problem. In our opinion, political union based on tribal and ethnic considerations is not the most desirable or wise course, and perhaps even contrary to the basic objectives of the trusteeship system. Any concession to a demand of this kind for unification may well raise similar problems concerning other tribes which, like the Aways, are distributed between the Gold Coast, the British and French Togolands. I may mention in this connection the following.
Single question were to be put, as the United Kingdom representative proposes, and if a majority in any area were to vote in the negative, the practical situation would be about the same as if the question were asked in two parts, namely, some continuing administration would need to be provided for. Although we appreciate the problems involved in the formulation of the question, as pointed out yesterday by Mr. Hopkinson, we find it difficult to believe that the administering authority would find it impossible to continue temporarily some kind of administrative responsibility in certain areas where there might be substantial majorities who are not quite ready to make up their minds as to their future. We fully realize why the administering authority, which has expressed its view that the territory is ready for independence as an integral part of the goal. However, when the differences are quite pronounced as between geographic areas, a special situation arises which we feel at least merits some consideration. We would hope, however, that there would be no ultimate fragmentation, which we believe the visiting mission itself sought to avoid. We attach importance to the advantages which accrue from establishing and maintaining an entity which is both politically and economically viable, and we believe that the inhabitants themselves must share this opinion. After examining the advantages and disadvantages of the recommendations of the visiting mission, we are inclined to the view that their proposal of counting the plebiscite votes by districts not only is somewhat more sensitive to the feelings and attitudes of the people, but we also believe that the plan would be feasible and practicable, provided all the directly interested authorities could agree to cooperate together in carrying out the proposal. In saying this, we will be prepared to consider adjustments or alternative arrangements which may be brought forward in the discussions here or in the General Assembly. Our minds are not absolutely fixed to any one course of procedure. But we believe, as I said earlier, that the proposals of the visiting mission in this respect furnish a practicable and feasible means for ascertaining the wishes of the people.